The full-time whistle has just blown at the Accor Stadium in Sydney. The Lions Test series against the Wallabies has now come to a close. And these are my thoughts immediately following the final whistle. And that game had so much to talk about, so much to love as well. And spoiler alert, here comes the result. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers. And congratulations to Joe Schmidt and his Wallabies on managing to win the Test, to stop Andy Farrell from getting that perfect 3-0 series victory that he was very open about saying he was after, and just putting in a brilliant performance. First and foremost, I think it'll be very disappointing. Andy Farrell will be gutted. Those players will be gutted. It's something they talked about right from the very start. I think Henry Pollock was maybe the first person to say that they are targeting a 3-0 win. Normally that's something people say in private and maybe don't bring up publicly, but the Lions have embraced it, gone for it. They were looking to go completely unbeaten on Australian soil. That would be the first time a team has gone unbeaten away on tour since, the 70s. But they didn't manage to do it. They came up against the Wallaby team that were, to a man, better than the Lions and played the conditions absolutely brilliantly. Let me know your comments in the chat down below. I'll be there with you. Give the video a thumbs up and hit subscribe. And make sure as well you check out my new channel, Egg Chasers IRL, which is not an Irish Egg Chasers channel, by the way. Some confusion about that. Egg Chasers IRL in Tinternet speak in real life. So it's just more travel, behind the scenes stuff. I've been in Australia the last few weeks. I'm going to South Africa on Monday, and I'll be watching the Wallabies, who will be going to the home of the world champions. And you may be sort of thinking at this point, hold on, Tim, you're in Australia, why aren't you at the game? Yeah, I know. I thought I was going to be at the game until earlier this afternoon. Them's the breaks. That's the way it goes. The touring team I was with, there were tickets, I was told, but turns out there weren't tickets for me and Lewis. Lewis, you've gone really quiet, mate. I thought you'd be out with your Wallaby flag at this point. Oh, there he is. I knew it.
The boys, yeah!
I've had to. So even though I wasn't in a stadium full of Wallaby fans, I've had to deal with that. And fair play, they did really well, mate. They did very well.
Just gonna say, 2 minutes from a series win. That's all. Nothing else needed.
78 minutes last week. Yeah,
2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Well, exactly that. That is. Do you know what? That is genuinely going to be one of the narratives that comes out of this Test series. No doubt. This is why I actually thought the Lions were going to be maybe more motivated, have more reason to go and win, because they're chasing a slice of history, and because there was so much fuss made over that final try for Hugo Keenan last week and that clear out from Jack Morgan. And, here in Australia, I've spoken to so many Aussie fans who were proactively bringing it up. The other night I was at Randwick Rugby Club and it got brought up again and again. Oh, terrible decision. And it's like two parallel universes, checking in with what people are saying back in the UK and also checking my own personal opinion on that, it was fine. And then chatting to some Wallabies, it was like, oh, clear as day. That was never a try. And so now the Wallabies have gone and done a proper job on the Lions in this third Test. That narrative is going to bubble up again. They were one terrible refereeing decision away from a series victory. And it's interesting to think about what the post-mortem of this tour is going to be, because it does take a very different complexion now. The Lions have won the series, and at the end of the day, the history books are going to say that Andy Farrell has led his team to a series victory. However, all the talk coming into this was, it's the poorest opposition that the Lions have had in the modern era, and I don't know, it's just going to be interesting to see how the dust settles on this tour. Did Andy Farrell get the most out of this team? But you know what? All those post-mortems are for another day. Let's talk about this one, because that was pure old school rugby. I absolutely loved it. So much niggle and aggro and shithousery, off the ball stuff. TMO lose, not being there for the first half. Referee almost losing control at times. Massive shots going in. It just, in a really good way, it felt old school. And the fact that it was biblically bad weather conditions and it was every metre of territory was so significant. That added to that for me. And I mean, just look at the physicality of the match. It was brutal. Look at the HIAs for Tommy Freeman, who was Bambi on ice at one point. James Ryan, who decided to go and headbutt Will Skelton's knee. If there's one knee in world rugby I'd want to stay well clear of, it'd be Will Skelton's. So I hope he's all right. And Maro Itoje as well. The skipper, after half an hour, maybe even less than that, off and did not return to the field. And for Australia, Tom Liner as well. So old school is the word I would use to describe that. It was, territory was massive. You almost didn't want possession at times. Like territory was king. And Australia, when they had the opportunities, took them brilliantly. That game was as old school as Harry Wilson, the Wallaby captain. That man is like a throwback. He wears a massive forearm guard and he's got ever such a little bit of a belly on him, which I don't know. It just makes me love him that little bit more. And he had a brilliant game, as did Tom Hooper alongside him, as did Will Skelton once again, as did Nick White in possibly his final game for the Wallabies on Aussie soil, maybe ever his final game. And I think he went out. If that's how he bows out, he'll actually be bowing out, showing that he's still got a big role to play for the Wallabies should he want to change his mind, because he was absolutely class. Tate McDermott, great when he came on. Lenny Kitau and Joseph Suaalii got the better once again of the Lions centres. And I do think the Lions midfield and wingers has been the weak link on this tour. But actually, it was across the park, as I say. Line out, Frost and Williams completely dominated the Lions. The scrum, the Wallabies had parity. They probably had an edge in that first half. So, Dylan Peach coming in was so good. So many of the players that came in were outstanding, which again, that might be the post-mortem from the Wallabies' point of view. What would happen if they'd had more warm-up games than just one against Fiji? They looked a bit undercooked in that first test. What would have happened if they'd picked Taniela Tupou from the start of the test series? What would happen if they'd rolled the dice on Will Skelton a bit sooner, although he would have been unfit, or Rob Valentini, the same goes. They dropped Tom Hooper out of the squad completely last week. In hindsight, does that look like a mistake? Zane Nongor and Tupou both came in on the tight head, but Tom Robertson was picked last week and he didn't go well. So it's easy to say it after the fact and Monday morning quarterback it, but you have to look back and think that series was there to be won for the Wallabies, and the Lions did take it. Also, we had the Storm. Got to talk. How can we not talk about a Storm? I mean, on the one hand, I am obviously disappointed that the ticket that was promised never arrived in my email inbox. That was disappointing. But some might argue dodged a bullet, because fair play to that crowd who stuck around for 80 minutes of rugby, but about 2.5 hours or more, nearly 3 hours in biblically bad conditions. The weather in Sydney the last few days has been awful, and there was tropical storm coming through this morning, and there was I played a game yesterday and it was like a monsoon level rain for about 5 minutes. When it comes down, it absolutely hurls it down, and it did on those fans who stayed to the end. Fair play to the DJ for sticking about. It was just fascinating to watch that process unfold, wasn't it? Happens so rarely. It was really interesting to get a glimpse of what the players do, what mindset they're in when that happens. And my favourite bit, I think, was the beanbags. Tyke Furlong lying back with a towel over himself and his double chin. Not knocking him. Tyke Furlong is all of us. I did think it was a bit precious that the Lions went and chucked a towel over their changing room camera. The Aussies let us in on theirs, and it was just really interesting to see how chilled out they were that whole time. Like, I think rugby has moved on, and that whole shouting and screaming, headbutting walls before a game doesn't really happen anymore at the top end in the way that maybe it did in the past, or certainly my memories of, years and years ago playing rugby. Some people would go out just, wired to go and smash things. It doesn't seem to be the way now, and even in the face of that, they're just totally chilled out. Finn Russell, checking through his WhatsApp messages or whatever he was doing on his phone, just and giving a little grin to the camera. So that was interesting. Fair play to the fans and fair play to the Wallabies for just dealing with the conditions really well. The defence just smashing people. What else would I say? Yeah, the scuffles. I love it. There was massive shots going in. There was. Let me sort of rattle through the actual game and how it panned out. So, oh yeah. Well, firstly, the 90-minute build-up from Sky Sports started with a lovely opening montage. I like that. And it was cool seeing the different reactions to the final try from last week, just adding that little spice to the build-up to this game. I got to mention Alex Mitchell, having been involved in all 10 tour matches. Tyg Furlong for starting 9 in a row. Those are both amazing little achievements for those guys. At the start, that's right. There was... I was just thinking as I saw it, this is the perfect game for Nick White with those conditions. Really intelligent play early from the Wallabies. Suaalii footwork to create that 2-on-1. The Dylan Peach try, it was just class, absolutely class. Finn Russell with a great bit of tactical kicking, got the Lions a 5-metre line out, but they could not deliver. And it was, I think it was Dylan Peach again with the turnover after a huge shot from Taniela Tupou. Big scuffle, half an hour at this point, and the Wallabies don't take 3 points. Big moment, they get 3 in the end. And then the roles were reversed and the Lions got a penalty and Finn Russell takes a quick tap and tries to go for it and the Lions don't come away with anything. And you think in a game like this, I thought it of the Wallabies, they eventually got their 3 points. I thought it of the Lions, they did not get their 3 points. And it was 8-0 at half-time. And some names have been taken, some players have been out. Marrow, Freeman, Tom Liner as well. There was a massive amount of shithousery from Will Skelton and Nick White, and I love it. Those two as a tag team, the biggest guy on the Wallabies team, the smallest guy on the Wallabies team, both out there just causing mayhem for the opposition. They're like a buddy cop duo, almost like a comedy, like a wrestling tag team, comedy wrestling tag team. They are just, I love them both. James Ryan was off as well. Then play got suspended with that storm. And then lovely moment, Taniela Tupou, who had like an extra 40 minutes just to chill out for a bit and get his energy back. So that was an advantage for the Wallabies. They got to use Tupou and Skelton more than they would have done. Taniela Tupou runs over Blair Kinghorn, then drops it, and the Lions have got away with one there. The scrum solidifies a little bit for the Lions when Genge comes on, but the line out just completely falls to pieces. Harry Wilson got absolutely smashed and upended. There were huge hits going in. Max Jorgensen, I talked about this, right? The world has been talking about Henry Pollock in 2025. Brilliant young player, 20 years old, world at his feet, incredible. The world has been talking about Joseph Suaalii, incredible 21-year-old rugby player. Everyone's been talking about the Wallace Satiti, Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu. Max Jorgensen does not get talked about enough. He's 21, he's absolutely unreal. He has been one of the players of the series. When you talk about the best players overall, so Tom Curry for the Lions has been brilliant. Finn Russell over the whole tour, you'd have to say he's been outstanding as well. But I think the best players of the whole series have been Tom Wright, Max Jorgensen and Harry Wilson. They've been absolutely brilliant. Jorgensen is one of the best young players on the planet. And the way he took that try when it came was absolutely awesome. Just pickpocketed the Lions, who were running too laterally. Aki got in front of the pass. Poor Bundy Aki. Oh, poor Bundy Aki. He had a very... I mean, he wasn't alone. Not picking on Bundy Aki. He'd probably be the first person to come out and say it wasn't his day. Just one of those nights where nothing went for him. That was one of the moments. He overran the ball, passed behind him. Jorgensen scoops it up, wheels, try, and you sort of felt that was the game at that point. Although the Lions rallied, they had to score next. Morgan gets the try. The DJ then played Fontaine's DC. Brilliant Dublin band. Love that band. They're amazing, but I think they must have just assumed Jack Morgan was Irish or something. I don't know. Anyway, that was a crucial moment. The Lions managed to get the try, but Ikitau at this point, even more than before, went into beast mode, carrying hard. Pens came, and Kelleher got the yellow, and then that try from McDermott killed it off, Another steal at the line out for Williams. Another turnover for Williams. They were absolutely brilliant. A consolation try at the end for Will Stewart. But the game was done. And that was the series. Now, I will definitely be back to talk about, well, player ratings for this game. Oh, God, you can see that. See the bruise. I'm bruised like a peach. Bruised like a Dylan Peach. That was from the game. You will see how that happened and all the rest of it. And the games I've been involved in on tour here on Egg Chasers IRL. So again, go and subscribe to that channel. I'll leave the link in the description down below. But yeah, I'll be back with some player ratings. I'll be back to sort of reflect on the tour overall and how it's going to be viewed, what the post-mortem is there. So feel free to get the ball rolling on that one and get stuck in the comments. But first and foremost, tell me what you thought of that game, which finished with a very, very impressive Wallabies victory. 22-12. Right, I'll see you on the next video.